Welcome back, friends. It's Lauren with Rustic Honey, and today I thought we'd step into the kitchen and share some recent meals that we've been making here in our farmhouse. The sun is out this morning and it's supposed to be a warm day, which has me feeling all of the spring fever. Dan and I have been talking more about setting up our greenhouse this year, and it's just got me so excited for all of the things that we can grow and preserve on our garden and on our farm here. We're also talking about getting more chicks and expanding that a little bit since we had our chicken massacre last fall. But our Chickalinda, our solo wild free range chicken, is finally producing eggs, and I'm getting the rest of them from our local friends and neighbors. So we still have farm fresh eggs, which makes me happy. This morning I thought I would put together a breakfast casserole with all of the kids home. It'll be something hearty to fill their bellies, and I had some extra potatoes still from our stash. I thought, while I'm going to the trouble of shredding these potatoes, I will take whatever's left and I'm gonna try to freeze them and make my own freezer hash browns, which I've never done before. But it got me thinking that might be something that we could do in the summer when we harvest our potatoes, just to keep them preserved in another way. I feel like we have a hard time keeping our potatoes from rotting. We try our best to, remove sprouts and turn them in here and there, but we just haven't seemed to be able to preserve our entire harvest. We always struggle with that here in Missouri a little bit. I don't know if it's because of the fluctuating weather and the humidity. We have a hard time finding a spot that works for us. So I have been doing some freezer things, and my mother-in-law told me she's done mashed potatoes too, which is a great idea because you guys know I like to make meals ahead of time anyway. So that would be another great way to preserve our potatoes a little bit. But let me know if you have any tips and tricks on how you're keeping your potatoes throughout the winter, because it is a struggle here for us, it seems like. Now, I obviously took off any of the bad spots from those potatoes. I shredded them, and then I'm putting them in some salt water for a little bit of a soak to remove some of those starches, and it'll make a crispier potato. And then we're gonna flash freeze those here in a bit and see how that goes. Now, speaking of freezer stashes, I have still a bunch of bell peppers from last summer's harvest, and it really has me thinking back to that abundance. I'm so glad that we took the time to wash and chop and freeze, because now we can have that taste of summer here in the dead of winter. Now the kitchen is starting to smell so good. I went ahead and wrung out all of the liquid from those potatoes as best I could, and then I'm gonna flash freeze them flat like that and then put them in a bag later. So we're gonna let them go while we finish up our breakfast here. I know the kids are starting to get very hungry. I went ahead and made a couple pounds of sausage. I like to do that just in batches to have it ready to go for the week. If there's something else I'd like to make with some sausage in it, then that hard part is over and done. Now in the same skillet, I drained some of that fat off, and then I am adding the peppers and onions. We're gonna let those saute just a little bit. I'm gonna add in all these potatoes on top, again, because the kids are getting hungry and I'm in a hurry, so let's do this. I also don't have a lid for my cast iron, so I just put a cookie sheet on top, but always throw the oven mitt on there because I may have burned myself a few times forgetting how hot that would be. Now for the potatoes, I did about 5 to 7 minutes covered there and let them just sizzle. Try not to move them because you don't want them to stick to the bottom, and then flip them, and then I did another 5 to 7 minutes on a medium heat. Now we're gonna get to cracking on these eggs. So I mentioned our chicken, Chickalinda is what I call her. What do you kids call her? She calls her, Reese calls her chicken. What do you call her? Chickalinda. Okay, so it's stuck. Oh, Chickaletta. So there's a couple different names we have for our one solo chicken, but we're hoping to get some chicks again in the spring, and maybe might possibly, if we can find some, get some laying hens, because come summertime when the kids are out of school and we're all home for breakfast every morning, we are going to go through the eggs like crazy. And I don't know, in the spring, I just always love to have an abundance of eggs going anyway. So I'm hoping we can figure that out. Either way, it has me very excited for the spring. Now to layer up this casserole, I did grease this baking sheet, and then I put the hash brown mixture in there, layered it with sausage, and now we're adding a little bit of sharp cheddar cheese on top. I'm gonna bake this just until it's set at 350. So about 20-25 minutes should do the trick, since those potatoes are already pretty tender. And the kids are already hungry, and let me tell you, they devoured this casserole. Some mornings I wake up in the mood, ready to make a from scratch breakfast, and other mornings I need a little bit of a hand in the kitchen, and that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's video sponsor, Wild Grain. Wild Grain is the first bake from frozen subscription box with sourdough breads, artisanal pastries, and fresh pastas. You guys know I often will bake things that are sourdough in my kitchen, but it's usually a long process, and the thing I love about Wild Grain is that it takes the hard work out of making nutritional sourdough items for your family. You can bake every item in 25 minutes or less. You don't have to do any thawing or anything like thinking ahead of time, which on a Saturday morning when I'm wearing my sweats, I just want to bake. I just want to have something ready to go, and I don't want to have all that hard work involved. So Wild Grain to the rescue. I also wanted to mention that where we live, we're not usually eligible for any meal box deliveries. This one comes fully frozen and even out to the middle of nowhere if you live in the country like we do. The Wild Grain boxes are fully customizable. You can build your own box with your favorites, and I have to say I was excited about all of the variety we received in our box. Next time we will definitely have to double up on the cookies because they were gone in an instant with our family. So delicious. We also really enjoyed the baguettes, but I have to say that there wasn't a single item we did not enjoy from this box. And I will definitely be mentioning Wild Grain to my friends and family who have gluten intolerances because they also offer a gluten-free box outside of their regular classic, so you can customize for whatever your family needs. If you want to give Wild Grain a try for yourself, be sure to click on my link in the description box below and use my code RusticHoney to get $30 off of your first box. Plus, you'll get free croissants for life. That's kind of the cherry on top, don't you think? Thank you again to Wild Grain for sending some yummy food and sponsoring today's video. The sunshine out in the air so warm today. We have to welcome in this little fake spring that we're having and get some fresh air going in the kitchen. I'm telling you, it is giving me all the spring fever today. I like to think that I don't really struggle too much with seasonal depression. I actually enjoy the winter months typically, but on days like today when the sun hits your face and you get that fresh air from the spring, it's like all of a sudden you feel this new life within you and you're like, okay, maybe the winter is getting to me a little bit. Ended up spending the majority of our day outside on the farm. My husband had to do a lot of chores on our farm, and we also went to visit over at my parents and get some things done for them. So we are on the run a little bit, and my original dinner plan shifted. So with it being so nice out this evening, we thought we would go ahead and grill some burgers and some brats. Again, we all have spring fever today. I don't have any buns, so we are going to make some buns, hun. My husband is typically the grill man, so I love grilling nights because I just get everything kind of prepped and ready, and then I can hand it off to him and let him go do that. So if he's not too busy tonight, I'm hoping that's how this will go. I am just making some fresh hamburger patties, and if you're new to our channel, all of our meat for the most part comes from our farm outside of our chicken. We do source that from some other local farms, but then we also have venison because my husband is a hunter, so I know those look kind of gross, but I promise you they're delicious. He processes his own venison sausage brats, so he's worked hard on those this winter and vacuum sealed them for the freezer, ready to go all summer long, or on a day in the middle of winter when you feel like you have spring fever. So my hamburger patties, I prefer them to be fairly thin before they go on the grill, and I also like to season both sides and press them down just a little bit in the center. I don't like a Ruth has an opinion here. Do you like your burgers like that, Ruth? I don't like when burgers get super thick in the middle. I prefer that traditional, juicy, even patty. So yummy. Now for the buns, you can see here that Reese is helping me roll those up. I have never made the hot dog buns, but I'm just using the same recipe that I've used for the hamburger buns. So I'm just rolling them slightly different. None of these are even, and I know if you're watching this, you're probably thinking the same thing, but that was kind of on purpose because we have like the Big Daddy hamburger bun and then we have the little Reese bun. So we just have different appetites in our home, and I just don't want to waste any of it. So that's just how I did it tonight. Our hash browns are for sure frozen at this point now that they've been flash freezing for the majority of the day. I'm throwing them into a freezer bag and we're just going to see how those go in the future. I don't see why they won't be delicious. I did some egg wash on top of these and some sesame seeds on top of the buns. Quite possibly, in my opinion, the star of the show is the sweet relish I made a couple summers ago. Having pickles and relish ready to go in the dead of winter makes me so happy. right, tonight after dinner, we are craving something sweet. And I have the ingredients on hand to make my Aunt Janet's peanut butter bar cookies. And I'm not a huge peanut butter dessert person. I like peanut butter, but for some reason I never really crave peanut butter desserts. But this one I feel like is an exception. I really enjoy these. So even if you're not a huge peanut butter fan, I feel like these are a crowd pleaser. Just gonna pop the first layer into my dirty oven here. Maybe when spring finally hits, I'll actually clean that thing. These peanut butter bar cookies are so easy to throw together, which is what I was going for on this particular evening because I didn't really feel like baking, but I still wanted to have a sweet treat in the house. So these are just the ticket. Now we make kind of this peanut butter icing that goes on top, and it's just perfection. I will say that I enjoy these bars better the next day after it all sets up. It's a little less ooey gooey and messy, but and the flavors just kind of set up and come together. When this first layer comes out of the oven, you just hit it with some chocolate chips and allow those to melt. So I'm gonna go get the baby put down for bed, let those melt for a little bit, and then come back with this icing. Now I just kind of smear it all together. You could make it look prettier if you want to, but I kind of just ice it all together and then let it set. And again, they are better the next day. You can cut them into bars once they're really firm and set up. So if you need dessert made ahead of time or just want a good crowd pleaser, I would definitely recommend trying these. And thank you again to my Aunt Janet for sharing that recipe with me.
Man, I always had stories about the city life and the crazy nights. Figure I should probably give it a try. Maybe check it out, see what it's all about. But the traffic was fast and the money was slow. The people I met you never get to know. I kinda miss this place I used to live back home.
Now, if you can't tell by the laughter and my amazing dance moves, but Saturday nights are my favorite in the kitchen. Tonight we are making some homemade pizza, and maybe that's why I'm so excited for Saturday night dinner, because pizza is my favorite. Well, Tuesdays were made for tacos, but the weekend was totally made for pizza. My husband and I have this argument all the time. He'll use the phrase, "I'm pizzaed out." And I'm like, that phrase has never even entered my vocabulary, ever. Probably eat pizza every day of the week because there's different varieties. It depends on who you order it from and what the toppings are and what type of crust you want. There's just so many different varieties if you ask me. Tonight I'm making the kids' pizza, pretty much sausage and pepperoni, but one thing I like to do is use our marinara from the garden. I had a couple jars open when I make spaghetti and there's usually a little bit left, so I just keep it in the fridge for pizza night. And then I have our cowboyed candied jalapenos too. I like to put those on top of our pizza. There's something about jalapenos and pepperonis that I really like together. So for the kids' pizza, I'm gonna do a sheet pan pizza, and for Dan and I'll put it in a hot cast iron skillet. And again, for our adult pizza, I am sauteing the peppers and the onions from the garden and adding in a little bit of bacon for a little bit of an added twist.
I guess the slow life ain't just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, and you can keep your 9 to 5, happy with the simple life. Yeah, I ain't here to try to change your mind, trying to save your time, in case you're thinking about breaking out the bucket list. Girl, you can skip this funny business, 'cause up there it's complicated and overrated. Down here everything is understated. That's alright by me. I got everything there